And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. Well, there's no sports. The stock markets have been in rapid decline, cratering sometimes during this past week. 2,000-point drops in a single day. Our 401ks have been cut in about a third, and we're all cooped up inside together with social distancing and an early onset of cabin fever. So this has to be the best 60-ish seconds of your week. And a little bit of political news this week. 3 primaries held. Not 4, because Ohio Governor Mike DeWine decided it was in the best interest of their people to postpone their primary, but Joe Biden ran the table. A gigantic victory in Florida, as was expected given Bernie Sanders' flirtation with Fidel Castro, which doesn't go over real big with most Floridians. But a nearly 40-point win there for him, a 23-point win in Illinois, and a 12-point win in Arizona, all 3 of those significant states. And so the result, Tulsi Gabbard is officially out of the race. As you know, she's been out of it for some time because the Democratic leadership and establishment didn't want her on the debate stage. And now even Bernie Sanders is quote-unquote reassessing his campaign. That's always a precursor to suspending it. And so with all of that, it now appears that Joe Biden will be the Democratic nominee for president in 2020, something I boldly predicted wouldn't happen. I said I thought Biden was probably the strongest candidate against Donald Trump in the fall, but that the Democrats wouldn't actually go forward with him as their nominee out of that gigantic pool of wannabes. Here's the situation, though. There's going to be a very, very different campaign in 2020 than we've experienced in a long time. We're basically going to have a reset of the entire campaign post the big part of the COVID-19 scare, meaning that what has happened up until now is largely, in my judgment, going to be a footnote or an asterisk, and that the real campaign will begin sometime in midsummer, maybe at the time the 2 parties make their actual nominations at their conventions. But it's going to be a truncated campaign. And here, in my judgment, are some of the soft underpinnings for Joe Biden, because he's been pushed further and further and further to the left throughout the primary campaign process, including saying now that he supports a ban on fracking, no more drilling, etc. He's already said he'd put Beto O'Rourke in charge of gun control, something I think he will rue the day he ever even suggested. And in Illinois, you saw another little incident. Dan Lipinski, one of the last remaining pro-life Democrats, was defeated in the primary there, an incumbent Democrat beaten by one of his own party. They tried it before, it didn't work, but the national Democrats wanted to purge a guy who, like the former governor of my own state, Bob Casey, was a pro-life Democrat. They simply don't want those folks anymore. And the abortion on demand without any constraints position is not one accepted by most Americans. They may support Roe versus Wade, but they want reasonable restrictions on it. They want it to be safe, legal, and rare, which frankly is something that has been completely lost in the discussion recently. So watch those things as we move into the post-COVID-19 campaign. With all of that, this would be the logical time for the Republicans to begin defining Joe Biden, the new Joe Biden, the much further left Joe Biden. But there's not that opportunity given all that's going on with COVID-19 right now, but that will happen relatively soon. The real question now is, what becomes of the remaining primaries? There's going to be, I think, increased pressure to suspend or just postpone or even cancel them out, given the fact that it's pretty well set as to who the nominees are going to be, which raises another interesting intra-party issue. That is, who are the delegates going to be who actually get to attend the big show, either in Milwaukee or in Charlotte? Lots of party regulars want to do that. They have their names on the ballot. They worked hard to get there, and they'd like their shot at the voters to see if they can be elected in their own right to do that. Otherwise, it's probably going to be party insiders that pick the delegates. So that's going to be an interesting, potentially internecine fight. For those of you that like political squabbles, keep your eye on that one. But for now, let's all be safe, be healthy, take care of each other, and realize that in the darkness of all of this, that really is the best, well, at least not the worst, 60-ish seconds of your week.